What's good with YouTube? You already know Big Flocka with a convict's perspective. And I'm going to smash, dash, and slide on through with that little bit of energy. Please hit the like, subscribe, comment, do all those things to help support this channel. Hit that bell notification for future fire content. And we got a banger for you guys right now. This case is a case that was about 15 years ago. December 17th, 2008, one Tommy Madrid, 33 years old at the time, and Elisa Borget, 27, were killed. Okay, they were struck. I think 16 times they were struck, and then another person who was a bystander, where a bullet went through a refrigerator and ended up hitting someone in the head, was in critical condition. Now they were both shot while they were in a car. Allegedly, there was two suspects. A 40 cal was used and an SKS. Okay. Now this case has had all kinds of different speculation of why it happened, who, what, where, when, why. Okay. Now, first of all, there was an officer named Fuma, right, that was working with this individual, Tommy Madrid. Now, Fuma, she was a gang suppression unit officer. She worked gang task force. Allegedly, he had been providing her information and had a working hand relationship with her as a long time as an informant. Okay, that is one speculation. Okay, now in addition to this, right, they had a couple of informants in this case. Okay, one being a Carlos Dunlap, who was an Soldado, who was a hermano, who was in the county jail. Now he was looking at 15 years for I think, the assault, attempted kidnapping, rape charges, all kinds of different charges, right? But he was in good standings. He was an Soldado. Okay. Now he claims that he had got information from one Beto Palomino, right? Roberto Palomino from out there in TC, the same one who was involved in that triple homicide case in Modesto. Around this time, he was basically the authority in charge of the county jail right there in Tulare. He said that Carlos Dunlap said that he told him, Palomino, that the directives were that there was going to be an Soldado going out there to take care of this individual, Tommy Madrid, because that dude, Tommy Madrid, was allegedly having an affair with his wife. Okay. Now, further claims Carlos Dunlap, as a working informant in the county jail, playing an active role, was also sending out kites on behalf of the directives from Beto that were saying for them to put together a hit list of all snitches and informants and SNY groups like the Northern Riders and New Flowers, and for the Norteño gang members on the streets to start fucking cleaning house. Those were directives. Everybody had to go, basically, in these directives. All the SNY gangs, you know what I mean? Anybody that was inactive that had any type of, known informant, known telling, or were fucking known SNY gangs. Okay. Now, this individual, Joseph Flores, ends up coming in to the county jail. Upon that, he has a discussion with Carlos, where Joseph Flores reveals that he, in fact, did kill Tommy Madrid on behalf of Beto Palomino. Now, let me be further on all this. This is just all according to court documents, newspaper articles, and whatnot. I'm not saying this is true or whatnot. These are the allegations that the district attorney provided in their case. Okay. Now, in some senses, I'm going to sit there and say before we go further, there is a little bit of a red flag, because I find it hard that you would have an active carnal that's been a carnal for a while that's going to divulge that much information, unless Carlos played a pivotal role out there in the streets, or was basically holding a key position, maybe within the household out in the streets. But other than that, I don't see why Beto would be revealing that information. You know what I'm saying? That's on a need of no basis. And I don't know why Joseph Flores would basically reveal his conduct. You know what I mean? That he committed this act. I wouldn't admit it. If I'm running the household and someone comes in for anything that could be allegedly street regiment related, you know what I'm saying? First of all, it ain't nobody's business but you and your channel, and you and your crew are those that need to know. A lot of times when there was an ordered hit, either you got at secretly on the side and no one even in the crew was supposed to know, right? Or directives would sometimes go out from the regiment commander that there's green lights on out here on these individuals. You don't need permission to ask. In other words, if you get a chance to go ahead and handle your business, don't even report it. You know what I'm saying? Now, this case also goes in further. There was an individual, a female, that was with Tommy Madrid back in August or September of 2008. He had his infant daughter. This dude, Joseph Flores, allegedly came by, made some threatful gestures, was talking smack, was saying, "What are you doing with a rat? What are you doing with a snitch? Come with a real man that has power out here." Basically, portraying that Joseph Flores basically had a key position out there on the Gaius as far as being recognized out there in the streets. Now, that was also brought up. Now, there was also another female that had testified. Her last name was Arojo, right? And they had her on a parole violation. They threatened to take her kids, and they got her basically, according to her and the defense attorneys, they coerced her into giving a statement that she was there, she knew this and whatnot. She was a witness that he was involved. She later recanted her statement, saying that she was coerced by law enforcement and that she was under the influence of marijuana and methamphetamine at the time. So I think that pretty much affected her testimony. Now, you also had another officer, Mike Vesimo, I believe it was, Verasimo, who was a gang expert in this case. And the testimony that he provided was that through recorded conversations, kites, that there was discussions about this hit and that they were trying to raise money on behalf of the regiment out there in the streets to bail him out because he made the sacrifice and put this work in for whatever reason. So you have two basic motives, alleged motives. One, that he was an informant, which the gang detective admitted on the stand, okay? And two, allegedly that he was sleeping with an NF member's wife, which is grounds to get killed off top. Now, I don't know why this information would be out there like that. And that Beto would have loose lips like that. I mean, he's no longer active, so I don't know the truth behind it, but this is just what allegedly has been discussed. You know what I'm saying? Now, the further claims on this was that there was another person that was working on behalf of the defense. They testified allegedly claiming that this individual, Carlos Dunlap, was talking about he was going to get 3 to 4 years and that he was fucking working with law enforcement to build a case. Now, all his information was third party. It came through articles, it came through just statements, and that he didn't really know about the case, which I have a hard time understanding if that individual was either SMY or if he was on the active role. Because if he was active role, I wouldn't see a dude active telling another active dude that in GP. You know what I'm saying? So if it was on the SMY side, baby. In any event, you have two people whose lives were took. You know what I'm saying? And even the Black Ortega, she later testified to what happened about that statement. You know what I'm saying? In any event, there's always been question marks to whether this was a hit. Was this NF related? Was this just someone that was going up on their own, up on their own matters, taking it into their hands? Was this a situation where Beto called the hit? Was this just a list that they put together to have certain informants hit out there in the streets? Did they have contact with law enforcement that revealed that he was an informant? There's a lot of different speculation as to what really happened. In any event, I will say this. The likelihood is that one of those, if not all those, were the reasons why he got hit. You know what I'm saying? If he was working as an active informant, and if he was seeing an NF member's wife, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty much a wrap there. You know what I'm saying? Now, the female got hit, and she was basically collateral damage. You know what I'm saying? And that's the unfortunate situation that arises if you're living that lifestyle. You never know. It's not supposed to go down like that, but it did. You know, and see, this case is kind of it wasn't really talked about. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't discussed in newspaper articles. It wasn't brought into any further indictments. But it looks like this was another NF hit related. Whether it was Beto Palomino acting on his own admission in doing things, or one of his crew members, or whatnot, because he has a past tendency to give those that work under his regiment jurisdiction to do what they do. And he tries to do that to pretty much shelter himself and protect himself from any indictment, which is a smart move. You know what I'm saying? And he's not at fault, because if that's the way he ran his regiment, that's a smart way to run it. If there's a problem, deal with it. You know what I'm saying? The dude's already an informant and all this stuff. You don't need to ask permission from the regiment commander to go deal with it. You know what I'm saying? If it's out there, go handle your business. Now, the thing about it is that there's so many different claims against this individual that you don't know what the purpose is or what the reason is. in any event, they did get the right target in dealing with this according to policy and procedures. You know, how many other hits have gone on that have been swept under the rug? And see, a lot of times, in light of the Modesto, Goshen, and now this, you know what I'm saying? People need to understand that sometimes these hits are not coming from the top. Sometimes you have those that are being put in position out in the streets that have been delegated responsibilities and DNRs to uphold a certain regiment position, regiment leader or commander, and to run the streets as they see fit and deal with threats as they come their way. You know what I'm saying? So they can't act upon their own, you know what I'm saying, authority to make those choices. Now, sometimes things do have to come from the top as well. But if it's someone who's not a member or counted on the books by the organization, then by all means, that regiment commander has full jurisdiction to make those choices. And so this is one thing why you got to really take into account. You know, were these issues done by rogue members? Were they done in the best interest or whatnot? You know, look at what happened out there in South County of Monterey County about 10, 15, 12 years ago. People were getting hit that needed to get hit, but it was kept under wraps. Same thing with this situation, though, except for it was being more exposed. And see, that's why certain information within a regiment is not supposed to be discussed amongst people because false rumors gets put out there, false narratives. The only reason why certain information could be put out there at times is to spin a story that you want put out there. And that sometimes could happen where you want this to be put out there to where it gets in law enforcement's ears and it kind of takes you away from the truth of who really did it. You know what I'm saying? Like they tried to do that before when they killed Little Man. They made him put a 1-3, trying to make it seem like the Sureños hit him out there in the streets when it was actually the NF that hit him. You know. Anyways, this case is kind of interesting, man. You know, there's a lot more other hits that people don't know about that weren't promoted in the newspaper. That maybe the dudes were not NF members, but they were targeted by regiments. They were targeted by crews out there to be dealt with for either, disrespecting certain high-ranking members, burning the regiment for money, or just being no good. There's been a lot more of those than people realize. There's been individuals that are part of SNY groups that have been hit out there in the streets. No one talks about these, but they are facts. And so sometimes people live in their own bubble in this life and don't realize that, you know what, if you're on this side, you're a target regardless. If you're doing this, you're going to be a target. If you've done this, done that, you're still going to be a target. You're looked at no differently than anybody else. So don't get under this don't get into this fiction belief that people are in good standings and that you're not a target. If you're part of an SMI group, if you fucking defected, if you debriefed, if you told, everybody's on the same fucking playing field to be dealt with. The more noise and rumblings you make, the more target you put up on yourself. That's the truth. You know, these cases are prime examples. You know, as these cases keep on arriving, though, it's going to be less of these groups' interest to go deal with certain people because there's just brings too much attention. The Goshen incident, the Modesto incident, these are things that are going to be in the back of people's minds for a long time. Anytime you have innocent victims, children, teenagers that have no part in this lose their lives, it puts a stain sometimes on these groups. And let me be very clear when I say this. These hits, these movidas, none of these that happen, like the Goshen, Modesto, are done on behalf of the NF or the organization. The organization is going to frown upon this straight up. It could be dealt with by rogue members or by members who thought they were making the right choices but fucked up. Therefore, they're going to be held accountable for it. And that's the truth. That's just how the cookie crumbles, and that's the reality of it. That's why the ones that have always ran smooth operations have always done their DNRs, right? Which means they duty and responsibility to research and investigate and look at everything before they take that action. You got to weigh the pros and cons. And see, the ones who've been able to have some type of longevity are the ones that aren't out there trying to focus on doing hits. They're not out there trying to be the number one dope dealer out there. They're okay with what they're doing and they're controlling their territories and their terrain with the limited attention and heat. That's how you're supposed to run a regiment. That's how you have one that operates smoothly. And that's where you have ones that are going to want to function. But when you have situations like this, You don't want to fuck with it. You know, I may want to walk away and not do this no more. I know too much. You're gonna want to whack me. Simple as that. People don't want to have that in the back of their mind. With that said, man, this is your boy Flaco, Convict's Perspective. Hope you enjoyed this one. I got some more fire content coming today. A rato.